Good morning, guys, gals, enemies, and YouTube catters. I wanted to take the time to make a follow-up video to my previous video about Elfnote's whiteforest. If you haven't seen that video yet, yeah, you can do so by clicking the little eye above my head over here on the right-hand corner of the screen. But the reason why I wanted to go back and talk about this engine and this archetype is because I actually got a couple of things wrong with the cards when I was reading them off in the last video, so that was my mistake. As well as thanks to you catters in the comments letting me know there's actually a few lines that I did not think of when I first looked at the archetype to bridge between Elfnote and whiteforest. So I wanted to show off that combo today and talk about a couple of different lines as well with the deck. But before we get into that, like before, if you enjoyed this video or if you found this video helpful, remember to like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And while you're there, let me know down in the comments below how you've been enjoying or have you been playing the Elfnotes. Are you going to give the Elfnote engine a shot? So real fast, let me switch over to my hand camera. So the first thing that I want to address and fix is I actually misread the Elfnotes originally. In the previous video, I said that you can only special summon the Elfnotes once per turn, and that was not true. It turns out the once per turn to special summon is only when you're specialing them from the hand to that center main monster zone. So for example, Elfnote Tinia says you can special summon this card from your hand to the center main monster zone. You can only special summon Elfnote Tinia once per turn this way. So even if we special summon Tinia through its inherent special summon to that center main monster zone, if later in the combo we had a Rhapsody of Madness and Tinia in the grave, we can still special summon Tinia or any of the other Elfnote monsters from the grave with that effect. The ability to special summon them is not locked into a hard once per turn. The next thing I want to show off is actually the bridge between whiteforest and Elfnotes. Like I said in the comments of the previous video, let me know that there is actually a bridge between your Elfnote line and your whiteforest line. And it's not as bad as I originally thought. You actually can get to it through a level 5 synchro like TG Hyper Librarian. Now it can be any level 5 synchro, but Hyper Librarian is also a spellcaster, at least has some synergy with whiteforest already, but it can be literally any level 5 synchro monster. So how we get into whiteforest from the Elfnotes, all it requires is of course your Elfnote monster, preferably Tinia, because Tinia means that we have to do less searches, and then any one monster in the hand that is not a fire, kind of like our Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon combo. So how we get there is we are going to first special summon our Elfnote Tinia to that center main monster zone. So we'll go Elfnote Tinia effect and place that Elfnote's Welcome Home. And now we can go Elfnote's Welcome Home. And again, we have to send a monster that is a different attribute than the one we special summon. So if you open an Ash Blossom, you cannot do this. It has to be anything that's not a fire. But we're gonna send that Mulcharming Fuwalos to special summon the Elfnote's Power Patron. Now we are going to synchro into our level 7. So it's almost the same line as our Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. And we're going to go into that Elfnote's Strelitzia Seraphim. We will go the effect of Elfnote's Seraphim Strelitzia to special summon back the Power Patron. Now this time we are actually going to do the second part of the effect, the optional level modulation. Since Elfnote's Seraphim Strelitzia says that you can reduce the levels of all level 4 or higher monsters on the field by 3. So our only monsters on the field that are higher than level 4 is the Strelitzia. So it's going to drop from a 7 down to a 4. And now with Elfnote's Power Patron and the Strelitzia, we can synchro into a level 5 into the TG Hyper Librarian. Now we are going to use the effect of the Elfnote's Power Patron to search out any one of our Elfnote cards. So this can either be your Lucina to later on get into Fortuna, or you can just search out the Fortuna to simplify the combo. So we will now special summon out that Fortuna since that center main monster zone is open. We're gonna go Fortuna effect to place the Elfnote's Madness Rhapsodia. And now we'll go the effect of Elfnote's Rhapsodia of Madness, sending the Fortuna. Again, this can send any monster, but again, it has to just be a different attribute than the one we want to special summon. And we're going to special summon, you guessed it, back that Elfnote's Power Patron. So we have a level 5 and a level 1 on the field. So we can now make our level 6 and we can go into Resilia. Sinister Soul of the White Forest. And now we also have guaranteed spells and traps on the field to send for Resilient effect. So we can send, for instance, this Welcome Home to search out Elzet. Now again, through this line, since we did activate that Elfnote's Welcome Home and that Strelitzia effect, we are locked into synchros for the turn. So do remember that if you are going to go into that Elzet Azamina to search out Sinful Spoils after making your 8, to always search out your Wanted, because we will get access to the Deception later in the combo to get our Azamina debtors placed to make Azamina during our opponent's turn. So that is how you bridge from just a pure Elfnote hand into the White Forest. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is how we can bridge into the White Forest archetype when we open an awkward hand that is just, for instance, an Elfnote, a Deception, and like a bunch of hand traps that just don't really do anything. And we don't open access to our White Forest line, because with these kind of hands, it does get a little bit awkward when we have to use our Deception search for a Hallowed Azamina to go into like a Yugioh. That Yugioh has to search as Elzet so that we have some kind of connection to the White Forest line, and we don't get to search like a Diabell Star, have that spellcaster access. So what we're going to do here is we're going to special summon that Elfnote's Tinea. Of course, we'll go Elfnote's Tinea effect to place the Elfnote's Welcome Home, because again, worst case scenario, if you open a hand of just all hand traps, we can pivot into that TG Hyper Librarian line with the Elfnote's Power Patron. We're going to activate the Deception, and we're going to go Deception effect, and we're going to tribute a Purulia from our hand. Again, we have to keep that spellcaster on the field just like we would a Diabell Star, and Deception is going to add us our Hallowed Azamina. Now we will activate Hallowed Azamina, sending the Deception, and we are going to make the Yugioh. Yugioh is going to search, and we will grab the Elzet Azamina of the White Forest. Now we have a monster from the extra deck, and we have a spellcaster monster, so we can contact fuse them into that Chorozo now. And now, since Chorozo is a level 4 tuner, we can special summon the Elzet Azamina. Now we can synchro them off into our Resilient. And even if we opened, like I said, a hand of just like all hand traps, we still at least have that Elfnote's Welcome Home on the field to send for Resilient effect. So that's how we can also bridge into White Forest when we have awkward hands that are just Sinful Spoils. All right, so the last thing I wanted to show off is I just wanted to do a quick test hand with the deck real fast and kind of explain, since this was a request in the comments of the previous video, kind of explanation of like my thought processes and like why I activate cards when and what you want to check for with each archetype. So let me get a quick shuffle here real fast. All right, quick cut. And we're gonna do a test hand of 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we opened access to both of our engines, so we won't be able to do the anti-droll combo with this line, but again, we do just have access to the White Forest line here. So first and foremost, since we do have tails, we're not really scared of an Ash Blossom, even if they Ash Blossom like Elzet from hand. After we send the tails, we can Elfnote the Elzet away for a spellcaster. And since our Diabell's engine is our strongest engine, we want to pretty much go through everything first before we go into that, ending on the Diabells and the Diabell Star Vengeance. That represents still 3 different interactions with only the 2 creatures alone. So it's still our most important engine to make sure it resolves. So of course, we're going to activate Elzet in hand to special summon, sending that Tails. Elzet is going to search out our Sylvie, and the Tails is going to set itself on the field. Again, if they Ash Blossom the Elzet and we just had the Tails and we don't get the Sylvie search, we can still go Elfnote's Welcome Home, send this Elzet, and special summon out Lucina We will just normal summon our Sylvie now. Sylvie effect to search. And since our only target for this in the deck is Witch of the White Forest, we're going to grab Witch of the White Forest. Then we, of course, will just go normal White Forest combo here. We will summon our Resilia. Resilia effect can send either that Elfnote's Welcome Home if we kept it in hand. We'll just send the Sinful Spoils, make sure we get a trap in the grave for Diabell Star Vengeance. So Resilia effect is going to search out our Azaelzet. And again, we're doing it this way because if they Ash Blossom and Perm effect failure our Resilia here, then we can always just flip over Tails to add that Azaelzet. So now we'll go effect of Azaelzet to special summon. And then we are going to activate our Tales of the White Forest, since this is most likely the card that you'll want to add back just to make sure you have follow-up engine for the next turn. If you are playing a Stellar, you would want to search a Stellar here as just to have in the grave, but we'll search out another Sylvie. Now we will synchro into our level 8 into our Diabell Queen of the White Forest, and you are going to chainlink one Elzet Azamina, chainlink 2 Diabell targeting your Tails to add it back, and just mainly chain blocking your Elzet Azamina so that we can guarantee our Sinful Spoil search. So with that Sinful Spoil search, since we were not locked into anything, obviously we're going to get that Deception of the Sinful Spoils. We will activate Deception here. We'll go Deception effect, and we will tribute that Sylvie that we added earlier, and we will add us our Hallowed Azamina. Now we will go Hallowed Azamina here, and your opponent has to decide now if they want to nib here. We're not giving them a profitable nib, or if we're going to go into like a Murasiliago. We're just going to play like our opponent has nothing. We will go Murasiliago here and send this Deception. Murasiliago effect is going to search and is going to search our wanted. And now we will finally go effect of Hallowed Azamina in the grave, shuffling back this Azaelzet to add back the Hallowed Azamina. And then we will go Hallowed Azamina chain wanted. So again, your opponent has to nib here, and they are only getting a Diabell and a Murasiliago, and we still have follow-up after that to go a full combo, but we will make the Azamina Il Sylvia here, sending this wanted, and the wanted search is going to add us our Diabell Star, the Black Witch. Now, before we summon our Diabell Star, the Black Witch, if we want access to that Silvera for our opponent's turn as they face up negate, remember to banish that wanted, put the Silvera on the bottom back in the deck, and get our free card draw here. So we draw one, it's a Debtors. I'm just going to keep it face down, pretend it's a blank card, since it doesn't really matter for the combo. Now we'll go Diabell Star, sending that Murasiliago, special summon the Diabell Star of the Black Witch. Diabell Star is going to set that Silvera, so now we have a negate to protect us against cards like Droplet and Dark Ruler no more. Now we can activate our Elfnote's Welcome Home. Before we do the effect of Elfnote's Welcome Home, we can first go Witch of the White Forest here to search us another monster, since we want to keep that Sylvie in the grave to special summon back. And let's just choose the Azaelzet again, why not? We will go Elfnote's Welcome Home here. We will send this Azaelzet to special summon from our deck any one of our Elfnote monsters. We will summon the Elfnote's Lucina here, and we'll go Lucina effect to add us an Elfnote. So we'll add us the Elfnote Fortuna. Now with this main center monster zone cleared, we can special summon the Fortuna, but let's get this Lucina off the board. So let's special summon out the Sylvie by shuffling back the Resilia. And now we can go into our level 10s, like a Fabled Lazybell. We are running out of monster space or monster zone space with this setup, so we won't get the Fortuna. Probably should just search like the Power Patron or anything else, honestly. It doesn't really matter. If you wanted the space for your Elfnotes, you can also just choose to send the Diabell Star with the Welcome Home instead of searching out another monster, and we could get access to any one of our other Elfnote monsters. We would use the Sinful Spoils to tribute the Diabell Star Vengeance, but we'll just keep the Fortuna hand. We will send the Witch of the White Forest or send this Tails or anything that we have. We'll send the Witch to send Curse. Curse will add us our Philia, and our Philia will add us our Vengeance. And now we can finish up by banishing a spell and a trap for our Diabellstar Vengeance. So we did not end on the Elfnote trap. If you wanted to end on the Elfnote trap, instead of summoning out the Lucina with the Welcome Home, you could summon out the Fortuna. Basically, we summon out the Fortuna with the Welcome Home and synchro it off with the with the Sylvie to make the Levi Lazabelle. And now we have access to the trap, which is also a face-up negate. So with this board, we have our Diabellstar Black Witch. We have the ability to send the Betrayal Silvera and to send the Black Witch as a negate. We have an Omni with Elias Sylvia. We have a tribute to negate this Levi Lazabelle to clear up a monster zone space as well for our Rhapsodia. And now we have a space open for Elfnote's Madness Rhapsodia to special summon out our Fortuna. And now Rhapsodia is a face-up negate. And now we have Elfnote's Fortuna that can switch its positions with this Diabell's the White Witch in the middle to also bounce a spell or trap if they activate like a field spell or a continuous spell. We have that ability there. And then of course we have the effects of Diabell to special summon a Tuner Synchro and Diabellstar Vengeance to special summon a Spellcaster Illusion Tuner Synchro. So like I said in the previous video, the Elfnotes really lets us do a lot of different layered interaction that people are not used to with Whiteforest. It really adds that other layer of the Rhapsodia of Madness to protect our board, even if we don't get access to something like a Sinful Spoils of Betrayal Silvera during our combo. And then the ability to also have follow-up with our Elfnote Welcome Home to go back into our engine to have just an insane amount of follow-up, insane amount of resource economy with this deck. Pair that with the ability to even go into a card like Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon before we even search anything, lets us protect ourselves against Droll and Nib as well. A lot to take into consideration, a lot to check out, and a lot to try out and test with this deck. And I am looking forward to getting to play more matches with this build as well. If you liked this video or you enjoyed this video or you found this video helpful, remember to comment down below, and while you're there, like and subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. I want to thank y'all for the support on the previous video, of course. Hopefully you've been enjoying these kind of like little mini Elfnote videos as I've been enjoying this archetype and this pairing with Whiteforest. Let me know down in the comments below if you are playing regionals this weekend, what deck you're bringing, what you're looking out for, how you do in regionals if you're catching this in the future. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, Catters, good night.